Welcome to another deep dive. And today, things are getting really interesting because we're going to be talking about some cutting-edge AI research from this company, DeepSeek-AI. And they've really developed some new reasoning models that are kind of changing the game. And it's all laid out in their paper, DeepSeek-R1, Incentivizing Reasoning Capability in LLMs via Reinforcement Learning. So by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand just how DeepSeek is training AI to think like never before, what that actually means, and what that means for all of us in the future.
Yeah, it really is remarkable what they've been able to accomplish. I mean, one of the biggest hurdles in AI has always been, getting it to actually reason,
right?
Not just follow instructions.
So what does that actually mean? When we talk about AI reasoning, what is that? How do you even define that?
So reasoning in AI, it's all about going beyond just simple pattern recognition.
Yeah.
It's about being able to understand and analyze and solve those complex problems, much like we do as humans. Just, think about it like solving a math problem or writing code or even just understanding a really nuanced argument.
Right.
Those all require reasoning.
And that's what DeepSeek is claiming to have made significant strides in with this new research.
Absolutely. They've introduced two new AI models, DeepSeek-R1 and DeepSeek-R1, and these showcase a level of reasoning we haven't really seen before.
So let's start with DeepSeek-R1. What makes this one so special?
Well, DeepSeek-R1 learns purely through reinforcement learning, and this is a method where the AI learns from its mistakes and its successes, kind of like trial and error.
Okay.
Think of it like almost like training a dog with treats, right?
Right.
You reward it when it does something right.
It's amazing to me that it can learn without any explicit human instruction. It's just figuring things out on its own.
It really is. So instead of giving the AI like a step-by-step guide, they kind of just set up this environment where they give it goals and then they just kind of let it explore different ways to reach those goals. And the more it succeeds, the more it refines its approach.
So DeepSeek-R1 is all about self-discovery then, in a sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And the rewards, they focus not only on getting the right answer, but also on making sure that the reasoning steps are presented clearly. It's like, teachers always say, show your work. Well, this is kind of like that for the AI, show your work.
And that brings us to one of the most fascinating parts of all of this, DeepSeek-R1's aha moments that they're talking about.
So in the paper, they describe how DeepSeek-R1, while it was solving a math problem, actually recognized that it was on the wrong track, and then it changed its approach. And it even verbalized it. It literally said, wait, that's an aha moment I can flag here. Let's reevaluate this step by step.
It's having a genuine moment of insight. That's incredible.
Isn't that amazing? It really suggests that there's some rudimentary level of, metacognition happening there.
Right. So metacognition being the ability to think about your own thinking.
Exactly.
So we're talking about an AI that's not just doing calculations. It's actually starting to understand and be self-aware.
Yeah, that's a really great way to put it. Now, DeepSeek-R1 it's groundbreaking, but they didn't stop there.
Right.
They developed DeepSeek-R1.
Okay, so what's the key difference between R1 and R1?
So DeepSeek-R1 incorporates some human-provided examples in the training.
Okay.
So it gets a little bit of a head start. But it still heavily relies on reinforcement learning. So think of it as a blend of, a little human guidance mixed with that AI self-learning.
They're combining the best of both worlds.
Exactly. And this leads to even more impressive results, like some of the limitations with DeepSeek-R1, things like readability, clarity of the reasoning steps. Those were addressed with DeepSeek-R1. So it was trained to produce these clear chains of thought so that it's easier for us to understand.
So it's kind of like a refined, more human-friendly version of DeepSeek-R1.
Exactly. And then to make things even more interesting, they use this technique called distillation to share this newfound reasoning power.
Okay, what is that? Distillation?
It's like, imagine taking all of that knowledge from DeepSeek-R1 and distilling it like you would with, a fine whiskey or something, into smaller, more efficient AI models. So you're getting the concentrated version of the original.
So why is that important? Why is the distillation process so important?
Because it means that even those smaller AI systems, the kind that could run on, everyday devices, could potentially have those really powerful reasoning capabilities. So it makes it more accessible, more widely applicable.
So it's like they're bringing the power of DeepSeek-R1 to the masses.
Yes, that's a great way to think about it.
Now, all of this sounds very impressive, but How do we know that these models actually work?
That's where benchmarking comes in.
Okay.
So they put DeepSeek-R1 through this battery of tests, things like AMY, the American Invitational Mathematics Examination.
Oh, wow.
There's Code Forces, which is a competitive programming platform.
Okay.
And then there's the MMLU, which tests multitask language understanding.
So these are all benchmarks designed to really test reasoning skills and problem-solving abilities.
Exactly. Yeah. They were essentially competing against some of the other top AI systems.
And how did they do?
They did incredibly well. I mean, they were either comparable to or in some cases exceeding the performance of some of the most advanced systems out there, including some of the models that were developed by OpenAI.
Wow. So this isn't just some theoretical breakthrough. They're proving that it actually works.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting. You know, it's not just pushing those boundaries of what we thought AI could do, it's actually demonstrating it.
Now, we've talked about the development of DeepSeek-R1 and DeepSeek-R1, but there's another really fascinating aspect to their research, and that's how they approach training AI without relying on massive amounts of labeled data. This seems to be a key part of how they've had this success.
You're absolutely right. That's a crucial aspect of their approach, and it's a significant departure from the traditional methods. Let's delve into that in more detail. It's really a different way of thinking about AI training. You know, traditionally, you'd need these huge data sets with every single example, like meticulously labeled with the right answer.
So they just threw out the textbook and said, figure it out.
Well, not entirely. They provided some structure and guidance, but yeah, they didn't hand feed the AI the answers.
So how did they do it? How did they manage to train these AIs without giving them all the answers up front?
That's where reinforcement learning comes in. It's all about trial and error, remember, rewards and penalties. So instead of just telling the AI exactly what to do, they set up this environment where the AI is encouraged to explore different paths to solve a problem.
Can you give us a specific example of how that works in practice?
Sure. Let's go back to DeepSeek-R1, the one that learned purely through reinforcement learning. They give it a problem, say a really tough math problem, and just ask it to solve it. Now, at first, the AI is going to make mistakes, just like, any of us would when we're learning something new.
Right, makes sense. But how does it know if it's getting closer to the right answer?
That's where the reward system comes in. They designed it to kind of guide the AI. Think of it like navigating a maze. The AI gets a reward for every step that leads it closer to the solution, and it gets penalized for steps that take it in the wrong direction.
Okay, so it's like the AI is constantly being given feedback, positive or negative, based on the decisions it's making.
Exactly. And the really cool thing is that the AI isn't told how to solve the problem. It has to figure that out on its own. Explore different strategies, learn from its mistakes, and develop its own unique approach to reasoning.
So it's almost like they're mimicking the way humans learn through, experimentation and feedback, as opposed to just programming it with a set of rules to follow.
You got it. It's a much more natural approach, don't you think? And in a lot of ways, more elegant. But it's not without its challenges.
What kind of challenges? What do they run into?
Well, one interesting challenge they encountered, even with DeepSeek-R1, the one that had a little bit of human guidance, was this issue of language mixing.
Language mixing? What do you mean by that?
So remember, DeepSeek-R1 is designed to work with both English and Chinese. And sometimes when it was responding to a prompt, you would switch between the two languages within a single response.
Oh, I see what you mean. That would definitely make it hard to follow.
It's like reading a book that suddenly switches to a different language in the middle of a sentence. Super jarring.
So how did they address that?
Well, they tried to minimize it by incorporating these language consistency rewards during training, essentially encouraging the AI to stick to one language at a time. But even with those efforts, it's still an area that needs further refinement.
Yeah, it sounds like a tough problem to solve. But even with those challenges, it seems like they've made remarkable progress.
Well, absolutely. It's incredibly exciting to see what they've been able to achieve.
Now, I know we've been getting pretty deep into the technical details here, but I'm curious to hear your personal take on all of this. What excites you the most about DeepSeek's work?
What excites me the most? It's the potential this unlocks for the future of AI. Think about it. They've shown that it's possible to train AI to reason effectively without those massive labeled data sets. That opens up a whole new world of possibilities, like we've discovered a brand new continent just waiting to be explored.
That's a great analogy. It really does feel like we're on the verge of something truly groundbreaking. And who knows what we might find as we explore this new frontier.
Exactly. Maybe we'll discover new ways to train AI to be more creative, more intuitive, AI that can think more like we do.
Those are some incredibly exciting possibilities. It sounds like this could be a major step forward in our pursuit of artificial general intelligence, or AGI, the kind of AI that's as versatile and capable as a human being.
I think it's definitely a valuable contribution to that quest. And while we're still a long way from true AGI, this research shows that we're making significant progress, maybe even faster than a lot of people expected.
And that progress is only going to accelerate now that DeepSeek has open-sourced several versions of their models.
That's right. Their decision to share their work so freely is really a testament to their commitment to the advancement of the field as a whole.
Why do you think they chose to do that? Why open source it?
I think they understand that the biggest advancements in AI are going to come from collaboration, from the open exchange of ideas. By making these models available to other researchers and developers, they're essentially inviting the whole AI community to participate in this grand experiment.
It's like they're saying, here are the tools, let's see what we can build together.
Exactly. And I have a feeling we're going to see an explosion of creativity and innovation in the years to come. New applications will emerge that we can't even imagine yet in healthcare, education, entertainment, you name it.
It really is an exciting time to be following AI development. But with all this talk of advanced AI, it's important to remember that there are also ethical considerations that we need to be thinking about.
Absolutely. As AI systems become more powerful and more sophisticated, we need to be very mindful of how they are developed and deployed. And we have to make sure that they're used for good, not for harm.
So how do we strike that balance? How do we make sure that AI is a force for good in the world?
That's a really big question, and there's no easy answer. But I think transparency and accountability are key. We need to make sure that these AI systems are developed in a way that's open, that we can audit them, that the people creating them and using them are held responsible for what happens. And of course, the decisions that the AI is making, they need to be aligned with, basic human values and ethics.
So it's not just about the technical brilliance of the AI, but also about the human wisdom and compassion that guides its development.
Absolutely. We need to make sure that it benefits everyone, not just a select few. And we have to be aware of the potential risks just as much as we're excited about the potential benefits.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that we need to approach AI development with a sense of humility, with a sense of responsibility, because we're creating something that could really change our lives and change the world in a profound way.
Exactly. And I think DeepSeek's approach, focusing on enabling the AI to learn and reason on its own, that's a really good step in the right direction.
How so?
Well, think about it this way. If we just program AI to blindly follow our instructions, we risk passing on our own biases, our own limitations. But if we can teach AI to reason for itself, to actually understand the world based on its own experiences and the data it encounters, then we have a chance of creating AI that's more objective, more adaptable, AI that can actually be beneficial to all of humanity.
So it's more of a partnership then, Instead of just trying to control every aspect of what the AI does, we're giving it the tools to think for itself, to make its own judgments, but hopefully judgments that are aligned with our own values.
Precisely. And I think in the long run, that's going to be a much more responsible and ethical approach to AI development.
It's a really fascinating concept. And, speaking of DeepSeek, one of the things that's really exciting about their work is that they've open sourced several versions of their models. What are your thoughts on the implications of that for the AI community?
It's a huge deal. It's a real game changer. It means that researchers and developers from all over the world can now access this cutting-edge technology. They can experiment with it. They can build on it.
So it's like DeepSeek is sharing their secret recipe for AI brilliance with everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a real testament to their commitment to advancing the field of AI as a whole, rather than just keeping their discoveries to themselves.
I can only imagine what that's going to lead to. I mean, it seems like it could spark a whole wave of new creativity and innovation.
I have no doubt about it. We're going to see new applications emerge that we can't even imagine right now. Healthcare, education, entertainment, the possibilities are endless.
The potential for positive impact is it's mind-boggling. But, with all this talk about AI, all this amazing progress that's being made, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement and forget that there are also some potential downsides.
Oh, for sure. We can't just ignore the risks.
Right. So how do we manage those risks? How do we ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a conversation that we need to be having constantly. We need to be talking about these issues, debating them, figuring out the best ways to move forward. And it's not just the responsibility of AI researchers and developers. It's a responsibility for all of us.
It's a societal issue, not just a technological one.
Exactly. And it's an issue that's going to become even more important as AI continues to evolve and become more integrated into our lives.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that we need to be proactive. We need to be thinking about these ethical implications now before AI becomes so advanced that it's out of our control.
Exactly. We can't just wait and see what happens. We need to be actively shaping the future of AI. And that means having those tough conversations, setting clear guidelines, and making sure that AI development is always guided by human values.
I think that's a great point to end on. The future's AI is in our hands, and it's up to all of us to make sure that it's a future that benefits everyone.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights on this fascinating topic.
It was my pleasure, and thank you to all our listeners for joining us today. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining what the future of AI could hold.
Until next time, stay curious.